Hi, I'm Game Guy. This is my level, the Flying Space Fish. I made it for the Make a Good Level Contest X2, and this is like a dev commentary thing of sorts. If you don't know what this video is about, you might want to check the video description, I suppose. And also, if you haven't seen raocoW's video of this level yet, I probably will not really be going over a lot of the stuff he showed off. So, that. So, this level. I do have a fair amount to actually say about this. I'm a little surprised I do, because, I mean, this level is kind of just a thing. Bit of my background, I suppose. This is pretty much the first level I have ever seriously made in this engine, so, there is that. I have a little bit of level design background, if only just from watching people, I guess. Because I've watched a lot of raocoW's videos. I've kind of more or less learned what to do and what not to do from that. I guess if you really call that much of a level design background. I've also played with Lunar Magic a fair bit, but I've never really done anything like super serious with it, so that. What's kind of funny about this level is originally I didn't even want to use this level name. I almost used another one instead, but I didn't really get very far with it. This name felt a little bit too generic to me, and I wasn't really sure what I would be able to do with it. Like, my first thought was something like, oh man, riding a giant cosmic fish through space. And that was pretty much all I could think of, and it didn't feel that great of an idea to me. Instead, I decided to change it up to riding something else completely and having the fish along for the ride. And that's how this level came to be, I suppose. One thing I do kind of regret in terms of designing this level is I kind of procrastinated until, like, the last week. Pre-extension. I really shouldn't have done that, and yet I did. So most of this level was made in a week, and then, like, the extension was more or less used for fine-tuning things, and that's more or less how this level was made, kind of in a hurry, I guess. I spent a long time trying to get this background correct, mostly these background pieces. I mean, like, the background itself took a while, too, but that's a different story entirely, I suppose. Like, a lot of these background pieces are made of smaller pieces and just kind of pieced together, but I'm sure that's nothing that unusual, I suppose. Something I didn't really get around to was Chester himself here. I wanted to actually give him a custom spray, but I kind of ran out of time and never really did anything there. Probably would have just had, like, hair and glasses or something. I don't know. In some ways, I kind of think it's better he's just a generic Cheep instead of being special in any way, so, I mean, that's up to interpretation, I suppose. By the way, his talking hitbox here took me forever to figure out. So, that was a fun time. So, I guess the main event of sorts, the ships. In the first section here, these ships were pretty much intentionally fairly basic. I didn't really want... Whoa, high lag. I didn't really want to do a whole lot with them because I kind of wanted to ease into the idea of the level, I suppose. A lot of the ships, actually all of them, pretty much remained almost unchanged since the beginning. I actually designed the ships first before designing anything else. So, in the end, the level was more based around the ships than, like, say, designing the ships around the level. So, that's pretty much the history of these. I got a lot of comments regarding just the fact that most of the time the tank is kind of, not really in danger. I'm aware of this, and it was something I kind of wanted to address, but I never really had enough time to really tweak it. So it just kind of ended up staying as this awkward thing that didn't really happen. Because as it is, in the first section, like, these first two ships can pretty much only be harmed by you yourself. I mean, this one with the gun could probably be broken fairly easily if you're not careful. But these two, you pretty much have to go out of your way to break them. So, it's It's just a gimmick of sorts that kind of got pushed to the wayside, and I didn't have any real time to do much with it. Besides, to be honest, it's probably for the best because, especially in the second half, your main focus is surviving instead of, you know, making sure the ship survives, because that would just make it all the more hectic, to be perfectly honest. By the way, I guess it's worth mentioning, in case someone cares, there's a small Easter egg actually hidden in here. If you bring a hammer suit into this section and decide to do something naughty, if you, like, break all the glass tubes up here, then the guy yells at you. It's basically just a text box, so it's not really worth showing. I don't know how I'd get a hammer suit in here besides editing one in, and I don't really feel like doing that for a text box. So, it'll be a mystery, I guess. I don't know. Well, I guess as I ride this ship here, I can probably talk about this section. Yes, Chester, thank you. Obviously the stars are from Mario Land 2. Something I definitely wanted to do from the get-go is have the second star and everything. I wanted to do it in such a way that didn't make you go, like, completely out of your way to you know, have to play the level multiple times or something. I mean, I figured you probably wouldn't get this one on your first attempt. So, I mean, to kind of accommodate that, obviously I had the multiple ships and everything to kind of make replaying a level not as much of a chore, or at the very least a little more interesting. So I felt like it was a safe bet that I'd be alright with maybe having to replay this first section. This first section, by the way, is mostly designed around the red coins and not much else, which is half the reason why, honestly, if you're playing this level just, you know, just in terms of survival, it's not really that difficult. It's getting the red coins that is the true challenge, so to speak. It's kind of how it was designed. I tried to make it pretty obvious you can spin jump on the stars. You saw back there were like coin trails and everything. And this is me dying, by the way. Something that's not entirely obvious is the respawn timer on a lot of the power-ups. Obviously, like, some power-ups are better than others, and several of them actually have like slower respawns instead of just respawning super quick. So while, yeah, you do have like unlimited power-ups in a sense, like you have them only at certain times. Unfortunately, I didn't really make this very obvious in the descriptions of the ship, so it's not necessarily something you'd know right off the bat. I also made most of the Koopas not actually have a hitbox with the ship, strictly because they kept bouncing off of it in weird ways. It just kind of made the whole thing sort of not really worth it. Something that actually is kind of subtle. After this text box appears, the space station over here starts to slowly move away so that you can't stay on it forever. Because, you know, that would be cheating. Well, I mean, it wouldn't really be cheating. It's more like you just kind of be stuck. So I force the player to die. Speaking of which, since Rocco never actually accidentally destroyed this thing, this is what happens if you destroy it. All solid platforms disappear, and you die. Although, he shouldn't be talking right now because he's dead. Oh no, continuity! It's worth noting in regards to that Easter egg, I wasn't actually aware at the time of the level filter, so that's kind of why I don't really know why I added it. Actually, I really don't know why I added it to begin with, because it really doesn't do anything for you, so it's just kind of there. Oh man, this is that tricky last red coin. Can I get it? Yes, but I died. That's actually sort of an issue with this ship in particular. This one has a hard time getting the red coins because you can accidentally destroy the stars you need to spin jump off of. and plus, it makes that last one tricky because you actually have to spin jump on it before you get to it instead. It's an interesting twist. I don't know if it's interesting, but it happens. I had some comments also about like the background and being able to actually like see the stars and such, like in contrast to the background, I suppose. I personally never had much of a problem with it, and I've been told that like all the coins and yellow bats and everything make it kind of confusing to see. I brought it up with the guy who was testing the level for me, and he didn't really have any issues with it, so I mean, I don't know. It's not really something that I can say I ever had problems with, so I don't know. It's an opinion, I suppose. I am never going to get past this part, apparently. Like, in hindsight, I think probably one thing I could have done is make the background darker. Probably just fade it out a little bit more than I did. The blur effect, by the way, was done mostly because I felt the background was weird, like weirdly pixelated. Because it's a background from Kirby Superstar Ultra, if you don't know, and I don't know, I like it, but I didn't like it enough as it was. So I figured I'd give it a little effect of sorts to pretty it up, I guess. I don't know. It's just how I was feeling that day, I guess. Homing Koopas are literally the worst. Maybe one day I'll just use that fire flower. Maybe one day. Yeah! I did it! I am the winner of the world, and thus I did it. That's how it works, I guess. I don't know. Fun fact, I don't know why that message box popped up twice, but it did. This little section here with the space station underwent a lot of revisions in order to get it right, strictly because of the whole double layer glitch thing. Because I used to have like a pipe in the ceiling leading here instead of the instant warps. But I didn't want people unfairly dying, and so it just became instant warps. Also, if you destroy the tank at that point, that space station disappears too. So, continuity. Also, there's a hidden one up here. I don't know if anyone cares. But this Mr. Saturn here is just kind of there. I wanted to change its sprite too, but I had no idea to what. Hence, it just kind of stayed that way. Oh well. So yes, the second half. There's a lot of cut content in this level, actually. I wanted to get like the main bit done, which is more or less what the level is. But I did want to have like a secret area in here that led to like a third set of ships or something. And I don't know if that's where I would have hid the star or not, but obviously it was becoming a little bit much, so I ended up scrapping that. You might have accessed that by getting the 8 red coins in the previous part. I don't know. Who knows? But it's probably for the best it never made it in, because this level's already kind of a bit much, I feel. So, you know. At the very least, my original plan was to have, like, a docking bay where you would meet Chester, but that never happened either. So, he's just kind of sitting up there for arbitrary reasons. It's kind of silly, I think. Speaking of, I wanted the second set of ships to be, like, intentionally silly. So, I mean, this one's just kind of destroyed. That one makes no sense, and this is literally a tank with propellers on it. I don't know. I thought that was kind of what I was really going for. Not necessarily, like, game balance or anything, even though this one kind of makes a joke at it. Like, again, there's not very many ways to actually break the glass tube, so my problem was mostly that. And I didn't want to do, like, throw the player into unfair situations where you either can't avoid damage, or it's really hard to avoid damage without taking a hit at the same time. So, it's an unfortunate balance. I really in hindsight, maybe should have gotten rid of the gimmick with the breaking of the glass tube. Like, for the most part, because I don't know, I feel like ultimately it wasn't really necessary or needed. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I will say, yeah, it does kind of balance out this ship and make it, like, not super overpowered. Even though that hammer suit really doesn't respawn super fast, if I remember right. I don't actually recall. Speaking of the hammer suit, by the way, you might notice the ship is slightly faster. Also, that space station still moves away, because, I don't know, it's the same as the other one, pretty much. Anyway, the idea of the dropship thing here, where the enemies fall on you, I think originally I had it so that the Goombas just kind of fall off and, like, kill themselves at the beginning as kind of a warning shot. That never actually happened, though. Also, this can happen. See, it's in danger after all. That makes it worthwhile, right? But no, generally, if you stay on, like, the front of the ship, you can't really harm anything with hammers. So, in a way, you can kind of just stay up here and kill everything before it has a chance to spawn. By the way, the trigger for the airship's, like, dropping stuff is actually just a timer. I had this whole section timed out in such a way that everything just kind of spawns when it should, and that's pretty much it. Oops. That was me not really paying attention to my surroundings. Maybe I should use this fire flower before I die, even though it's just going to go right back in my reserve, and I'm going to go ahead and immediately need it again anyways. It's all good. It's all good. And then I lost it immediately, and it was great. These bomb explosions, by the way, can actually reach through the ship, so you gotta be careful about that. I never claimed to be the best player at this game. I don't know if you've noticed. Honestly, I feel like this ship isn't really as bad, mostly because while it does have the spikes on the side, it doesn't have really awkward terrain or anything like the other ships do. So it makes it a little bit easier to kind of plan out your movements and whatnot. By the way, you can get up here before the ship starts moving, so you can go ahead and get all of the prizes here. They're just various little things, like a poison mushroom that killed me, and maybe some other stuff. Oh, hey, a moon. That's fun. Hey, a POW block. That's fun. Hey, death again. I will never know what's in that last one. I don't actually remember. It might just be like a 1-up or something. I don't remember how you're supposed to get that 1-up, actually. Now that I think about it. Oh, it's a boomerang. That's interesting. I forgot that that was here. It can also break the tank, so I guess be careful. Anyway, I guess something else about this ship, the mushroom respawns fairly quickly, so if you ever need one, it should be there relatively quickly. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect, but details. Actually, something else that the ship, I can talk. Things are happening. I guess I can just say it here. The ship actually used to have bullet bill cannons on it that also fired toward the center. I deemed that a little bit too much, and obviously they were removed. I'm not really sure what I was thinking with that. It didn't even really work very well, because the way that Smebex works, the cannon heads are, like, disconnected from the thing somehow, and they fall off sometimes. It's weird. The tank model also, like, the cannons here used to actually fire bullets, but they proved to be basically useless and just kind of got in the way ultimately. I don't know if maybe that would have balanced it better, because a lot of people said that, like, hiding in the front corner was, like, super safeville, which, I mean, it kind of is. I guess you can reach it with the taller models, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I bounce on a bullet bill or something. I don't actually remember how you get that. That's how I get hit by a bullet, though. Something I actually kind of want to point out here, I suppose. Originally, I was going to actually have a section of this level where there was a Mauser throwing bombs at you. This actually got cut due to various reasons. Not limited to just simply it was a bit much. But also, Mauser had a tendency to just kind of die randomly by jumping off. Also, hey, I finally made it. That's great. But also because of one other reason that I'll probably show later, I guess. Another thing that actually got cut from this level is there was originally going to be a boss fight with Bowser here. He was going to have like a giant spaceship thing that probably shot like turtle shells at you, which would have been a threat to your ship. I ended up cutting it mostly because A, I couldn't get it to work, and B, I felt that was a bit much after that whole section. I've done better in the past trying to play this, but in general, it took me way too long to actually get to this point. But yeah. Something I also want to mention here is the graphics. I never actually got around to changing any of them. I wanted to, but I mean, I didn't feel it was overly necessary, so it's just something I didn't really bother with. By the way, there is a hidden one-up over here, in case that is something that you enjoy searching for. I actually also changed the ending a little bit based on the fact that the boss fight doesn't exist anymore. Originally, Chester wasn't actually going to reach his goal, but instead didn't make it because Bowser interfered with him reaching this place somehow. I never really figured out the details, but he was still going to be, like, super happy to have helped Mario save Fish Planet or whatever. So, I mean, it was still going to be kind of a good ending, but, you know, just a little bit different. Because obviously he was going to try again. He's a very determined Cheep. There was one of these guys that Rauka never actually talked to, and I don't know which one it is, because I think some of them despawned for some reason. I think it was this guy down here. No, it's this guy. Yes, that guy. Yeah, he never talked to that guy. Other than that, there's not really much else to say about this level. I do have one other thing I want to show off, though. Something else I actually wanted to mention about this ship, but I kind of forgot until right now. This didn't actually used to be the little heart bomb things. Originally, it was a POW block, actually. I more or less decided against it, mostly because it made all the coins fall, and as a result, it made the red coins fall, which, if they fall off screen, the game doesn't know the difference between that and you having collected them, so in general, it just kind of broke things. Also, it really, functionally, isn't that much different than the bombs anyway, so I just optimally wanted to switch it to something else. I also used those bombs just so that, specifically, they wouldn't hurt you if you accidentally hit yourself with one. So that's all I wanted to say about this ship, I guess. It's not what I wanted to talk about, but I remembered it when I had to play through this part again. By the way, there's a lot of one-ups in this level. I kind of knew it was on the more difficult side, so I added those as just kind of, you know, a balancing sort of thing. It's kind of like a lot of more modern Mario games do, where they've added a lot of one-ups in their more hard levels near the beginning in some way. You know, just so the player doesn't run out of lives and the checkpoint is wasted, or what have you. Now, something I kind of went out of my way to do is make it so that if you stand in one particular spot for too long, you inevitably end up dying. So, how exactly would you die if I just decided to stay up here? Also, this stops eventually. Oh no, a giant thing of lava that comes out of nowhere and kills you. All piloted by a Goomba. I'm not entirely sure why I added that, other than just kind of getting rid of all of the enemies in the back. Like behind you, because you never actually really see that thing unless you do that. like, stay up on top there. More so, I really just didn't want the player to be able to survive by just, like, standing around in a place. So I wanted them to basically be forced to die instead of having to, like, oh, well, I guess I can't go anywhere. I'll just jump in a pit now. It feels not as good to me, I guess. I'm not really sure how else to word that. A funny thing that occurred because of that, though, is I get a glitch that occurs because of mushrooms touching lava. As I understand it, the glitch is fixed in the actual version of the game that Magalex 2 uses, so it's probably not something that would happen normally, but it induced a few crash bugs while I was testing, and half the reason I actually got rid of Mauser is because it's something I noticed right after adding him, so I had assumed at the time it was the fault of him, but I don't think it really was. Either way, he was kind of a flawed addition anyway, so whatever, I suppose. That's more or less all I really wanted to say about this level in general. I could go into more minor details, but I figured I'd get the big stuff out of the way. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the result of how things turned out. Honestly, because of all the enemy spam going on in the level, I kind of expected it to show up a lot sooner than it did. I mean, it wasn't really spam in the sense that I just kind of placed enemies wherever, because a lot of it was fairly calculated. Most of the stars actually kind of got in the way of certain things, and I ended up moving a vast majority of them to be a little more fair, because some of them were a bit unfairly placed. With all that said, I guess, thank you for watching my developer commentary thing video that exists. Yeah. That was my outro. Enjoy it.